Where's Dad?
You need a different type of alert. I think the chill alert text.
How would you word it?
Well, it's got to be just, hey, bud. Hey. Real dad.
Real dad, huh?
Hey, bud. Just heads up. There may be some water coming your way. No big deal. No one to worry about. Mom and dad are safe.
Where's Dad?
We begin now. Hi, I'm Natasha. Me.
I'm Phil Griffiths. We're comics.
Yep.
San Francisco.
Yep. He's a dad. I'm a dad. We're all dad here.
We're both dads.
Uh-huh.
We've always been dads
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the start.
I was born a dad and I'll die a dad.
Yeah. for
Hope
sure.
in between I'm something else, though.
Yeah. You're making that happen.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's good. Crazy day.
Yeah. They're like, tsunami.
Yeah. I mean, you're not worried here. It'd have to be really fucking bad for it to be here.
It's unclear how worried we're supposed to be because I was at a cafe and everyone's phones did wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
And everyone's did it a little bit before mine. And I'm like, oh, am I the asshole to like turn my Amber Alerts off? I was so worried it was an Amber Alert and I was the jerk.
Do you not have an iPhone?
I do. And
Oh, okay.
it just happened like a second later than other
Oh, wow.
people's.
But it's enough to where you're...
It's enough where I'm like, oh man, am I a piece of shit? You know?
That's what you got worried about.
That was my first thought. It's an Amber Alert and I look like a monster.
You're like, oh no, I'm horrible.
Yeah, fuck the kids. I'm a piece of shit. And everyone in this cafe knows.
At least it went off. At least you didn't like manually turn that off.
No, it went off. Yeah, and it was not for a kid.
Yeah.
It's for a tsunami.
Tsunami. Yeah, I mean, I live on the coast, so it's a little more worrisome, I guess. And everyone did start leaving.
Yeah. Have you had tsunami warnings before that have been valid, like that have made tsunamis that make you go ruh-roh?
We had the one when Japan had that big one.
That was a lot of years ago.
Several years ago.
Yeah.
And it made its way all the way to the coast here. So
Did it affect your house?
No, it was very mild.
Yeah.
It was more like it damaged stuff at the harbor. Like, cause
Okay.
I guess if the harbor goes up like 2 feet, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So Santa Cruz and our harbor took a little bit of it, but Santa Cruz took a bigger hit. But we didn't. But like people were like going out to the beach and like, let's look at the waves or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see a rolling wave in.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, my brother-in-law, sister-in-law went and I thought they were stupid, but I was like, why are you doing that? And they're like, we're just going to watch it. But they obviously knew it was a lot smaller deal than I was expecting, like massive tsunami. But
Yeah. I wish they could alert us, but have it be like a chill alert. You know, like this is happening. Don't be scared, but just want to let you know,
yeah, just like a chill text.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud,
The water, it's rising.
it's not going to be rad for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if
Or
they could
hours.
send it and send like a drawing of exactly where you should be concerned about, because
They did do that.
not on my phone.
Oh, not on
Do
your
you
phone.
think I turned it off like
Oh,
the
on
Amber
your-
Alerts?
So after you got the Amber Alert, you did absolutely no research or anything.
I pushed the buttons and none of them went anywhere useful. They just said, oh, there was an earthquake 45 miles southwest of Eureka. I'm like, that does nothing for me.
Yeah, see, I went in full dad mode. I started researching, like, how in danger are we?
Yeah.
Where was it located?
Yeah.
Then I was doing mental math of like, well, if there's a tsunami there, if it's coming down, it's probably not going to be horrific. And we were at the kind of tail end of where it was designated that to be aware. Like, it didn't get all the way to Santa Cruz. It was between Half Moon Bay and Santa Cruz. So it kind of said, so I was like, okay, if there is one, it's probably going to be smaller because we're at the end of it.
Yeah. And I
And-
thought all that without researching it, actually. I didn't have to do all the research. I just sensed it, I'm like, this is probably not a big
You're
deal.
like, I'm in a cafe. We're probably safe. There's no need to run outside.
No,
That would be funny if you just like busted up from the chair and just started running.
Bye, guys.
Did anybody react? Like, oh my, there's no.
Everyone definitely was like,
pearls.
whoa, phones. And then everyone moved on. And I wonder how different it would be if it had been like a kid alert, if everyone else would have moved on just as chill if they're like a child is
Definitely,
kidnapped.
for
And
sure.
like,
Especially in San Francisco.
Yeah.
They'd have been like,
not
well,
our kid. No one has kids here.
just tell me if my like Cybertruck has been affected.
Yeah.
That's all they'd care about.
Did you steal my catalytic converter?
Yeah, no. My mom got the alert in Redding, California, which is not near the water at
Yeah.
all. It would be pretty fucking horrific.
That's what I'm saying. Why are they alerting us when we're so far?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I get where I was. I'm, within.
But what about where I am? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I guess they don't know where you are in the city.
But they probably know where I am at all times. This doesn't make any sense.
That's true. Yeah, they probably do know where you are.
I just my brain is bad. And I just don't need people just freaking me out willy-nilly over stuff that's not relevant to me. I already do that to myself,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can you tell them?
We need a different type of alert. I think the chill alert text is much, even just if you just word it in a chill way.
Oh, yeah. How would you word it?
I don't know. Well, it's got to be just, hey, bud. Hey. Real dad.
Real dad, huh?
Hey, bud. Just heads up. There may be some water coming your way. No big deal. Nothing to worry about. Mom and dad are safe. We've got the dog. You're good. Maybe if you get the chance, just put on some boots. Put on some full shoes. That's about it. That's all you need.
That'd be so nice. Would you do it over voice? If you did it as a voice note, it'd be so chill.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, bud.
We just send out voice text. That'd be great. Hey, bud, just want to let you know. You may want to put on some closed-toed shoes because you might get a couple inches.
But are we even going to get a couple inches?
I mean, the bay will rise.
Yeah.
A little bit. But they were saying
will rise.
A phoenix from the ashes. It's supposed to, they said it rise a few inches to a couple feet at most, is what they were saying.
A couple feet's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I mean, again, you probably wouldn't notice it.
It wouldn't hit here. I don't need my closed-toed shoes, Dad.
Well, it depends. If you're in the bay, if you're close to the bay, the bay would get affected. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing your little swim at whatever the beach you swim
China
at.
Beach.
All right. I don't know if
My
you're putting
little
that out
swim.
there.
How dare you?
That
it's
would
my
be
chunky dip.
Your chunky dip, which we'll come back to. But yeah, it'd rise. I mean, again, you wouldn't, you're not going to get sucked out or anything, but if you're on a boat or you're near a pier or any of that stuff, it's definitely going to affect you. No?
If you're on a boat, you want that alert.
I think if you're on a boat, you're in the safest, right? Who knows? Why are we guessing?
I don't understand the speed at which the wave comes in or the height. And I think depending on the height and speed, you wouldn't be that safe on a boat. Or you could be.
Yeah, it depends on where you are for sure. And
Yeah.
how big. I mean, if it's just a little roller, it's not a big deal. But if it's sucking water out, if the bay goes dry, that's when you fucking run. You know what I mean?
No. Why does the bay go dry?
Because when the tsunami happens, usually it's an effect of the ground underneath the ocean slips out. So a bunch of water fills that space. So then all that water retracts from a certain area. But then what happens is then that fills up.
And then it goes back?
Where all the water usually was.
Yeah.
And then that comes back forward into. That's why did you ever watch the Phuket videos of the tsunami there?
No.
No? Wait. When was that? It was 2000 something.
Is this the same one that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, it happened in Phuket, I think. Well, no, there was two. It was Phuket and
I
Japan.
feel like it was 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's basically everyone's just standing on the beach and they're just watching the water get sucked out. And they're like, oh, cool. Look, we can see the reef now.
Oh, no.
And then they were going and exploring the reef.
Oh, no.
And then 10, 15 minutes later, all the water comes rushing back in, all the way up into the city, up knocking homes down and all that stuff.
Jeez, crazy.
You've never seen it?
No.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, I'm not going to see it, actually.
I mean, we should do a watch party.
What's the other watch party we were going to do? Just fun films?
Yeah, just fun, Dad. We'll watch this.
Fun
we'll
films,
watch Back to the Future. And then the Phuket tsunami. Just for a real high end in the night. You know what I mean?
I like that. We can end on that.
We'll go over water safety.
Yep.
We'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to swim? You do chunky dips.
I can swim.
Do you feel like you're a strong swimmer?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a strong anything when it comes to anything physical. Yeah.
But you're pretty brave to go into the bay. I mean, China Beach is not a mellow part of the bay.
I think some days it can be more mellow than others.
Okay.
But when it feels scary, I don't do it.
Oh, you don't? So you've gone and decided not to.
I've gone in a little bit and saw a wave was just kind of more powerful for me than I trusted myself with. And so I would go back.
And you go like head deep. You're like,
I go in the water.
you swim.
I swim.
Were you not touching the bottom?
Yeah. But I like to end up touching in the bottom because I get scared for too long.
Well, yeah. At some point you want
If
to
it's
start
got
touching
no
the bottom
waves,
again.
I'll swim for a while.
But will you be swimming at a point where, like, if you stood up, you would not be touching the bottom?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But we don't go that far out. We really like to stay close by.
So you're like kind of in the breaker for the most part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying. That's my big, ocean's like my huge fear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Even in the break area?
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
like any of it.
I won't make you chunky dip with me.
No, I would never. Like if you were drowning, I'd be like, that fucking sucks.
What a bummer. Who's
I'm
going to
gonna need
record
a
the
new-
next episode?
I need a new podcast partner.
That's why I actually try to be careful because I'm worried about you not being
Thank
able to
you.
find a
I
new
appreciate
podcast partner.
It would be a struggle for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ocean terrifies me though.
It is
had
scary.
a couple interactions when I was a kid that definitely solidified it.
You had some incidents?
Yeah, one I had my back to the ocean, which
Dumb idea.
dumb right there.
That's all you.
Again, no dad to tell me not.
Ah, man.
He was not there that day, and I was like playing catch or something, and then I just saw my friend just go
Oh, no.
like that,
Oh, no.
and I looked over right as a wave crashed over me. And then when I was a kid, I was always taught that there's a shelf. Did you get taught this?
Like the way the sand goes?
Yeah, like the sand goes, and then there's just a drop
drop.
off to the abyss, is
Okay.
what I was always told. So that's why you don't go out too far. So once the water hit, I was down on the ground, and when the water's rushing out, all the sand's going through your hands, so you're like trying to like fight it. But then I thought like my feet were like hanging off the edge of the thing.
Aw.
But looking back now as an adult, I was probably in the breakwater, like where it laps up, and
Yeah.
just a big wave came at that time. And I thought I was like 30 feet out, 40 feet out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, like pulling for my life. My mom was probably just sitting there going like, get up. Just straight fear.
It's so funny how scary stuff is, though, at that age.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was probably like 6, 7,
Yeah.
maybe at most.
We had a big earthquake in LA in maybe 94, 95.
Okay.
And I was in the middle of watching Beauty and the Beast, I think, really, really late at night. And then everything shakes, whatever, everything stops. And my dad pulls me up from my room, and he's going to go put me in my mom's bed with her. And it's all dark. And in my mind, I've concocted that the ceiling has kind of caved in their room. And it's gone through the bed. And there's a huge gaping hole in the bed. So I was terrified when he put me on the bed because I had just kind of imagined this huge thing that I was going to fall through. And I was so scared.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was not the case because that's crazy.
Luckily, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, but I was really, really scared as he was putting me down, and I remember that.
That was 94?
Yeah,
Is
94.
that like the Irvine quake or whatever that was?
Yeah, it was the big one.
Wait, how old were you then?
5.
Oh, but you remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I was here for the 89 one.
Wow.
Can we switch this to black and white just so it feels good on my side? Sepia tone would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was in high school, and I remember I had Nintendo. I was playing Nintendo, and then it was like we had like a lazy boy rocker. I was sitting in that playing Nintendo, and then the World Series was about to come on. I was a big baseball guy, so I jumped up and I turned off the Nintendo, and then I jumped back into the rocking recliner, and it just kind of like kept rocking. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized like, oh shit, earthquake. And I got up, and I think my stepdad was like upstairs or something. And I got up. My mom has this like, it was like her prized possession. It was like this Waterford crystal vase that we got when we were in Ireland. And so I opened the front door, and I'm standing in the front door, and I'm just watching our like curio thing just shake. And I just grabbed the Waterford crystal vase and just stood there like holding it, shaking it out. And then my stepdad came downstairs, was like, oh my God, that was an earthquake. And then he's like, I got to go to work. And then like left. And I was like, all right. That's terrifying. And so I'm like probably 16 at this point, 17 maybe. And So he just left, and my mom was in safety at her work. She worked for like Sun Microsystems. She was in safety. She was like the safety coordinator. She ran all the drills and all the CPR classes and all that stuff. So she was on campus, and like she had to like make sure the whole campus was okay. It's a huge campus in Mountain View, so she was like trying to lock it all down. So she called us, was like, "Are you okay?" And I don't even know if phones worked because there was no cell phones then. It's real old.
I don't understand, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, rotary. And so we were just sitting there, and there's no power. All the power's out.
Yeah.
And then it got dark early, because I think it happened at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, something like that.
Wow.
So it got dark really early, and then he went to his work to check all his stuff because it was like just around the corner. And then I remember it was the first time like I had seen my neighbors in our little condo complex we have, and they were like, "Oh, you can come in here to like listen to the radio about what happened." And then I remember just going in somebody's house and just sitting there listening to the radio. And I was like, "This is like old timey." And then everyone just like, "All right, later." And then I left and went back to my house. My mom and stepdad were still not there.
That's
Pitch
so
black.
crazy.
And then I remember like being panicked because there's aftershocks like every few minutes.
Wow.
And then I was sitting fell asleep on the couch finally, and I woke up because the TV came on right at the same time. But I don't know if you ever remember a show called The Current Affair. I doubt it, but it had this real like intense intro where like it would be like this triangle spinning, and then it had the logo on the triangle, and then it would be like wang, like. And that's what I woke up to right as the TV came on.
Wow.
Rang, and I was like, yeah. And I would jump and freak out. And then my mom and stepdad didn't come home till like 11 o'clock or something.
Wow.
Yeah, real, trusted me quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it is.
And then, and it was just weird. It's just so weird for, weeks after, everyone's just so paranoid and freaked, and there's aftershocks still, so you just have that like panic or whatever.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
Do you think the Current Affair paid to come on that way? Do you think they're like, just keep the power off until we start?
We got to scare the shit out of this kid. We got to make sure he's terrified, and we need a PTSD type response anytime he hears that sound.
Can you do the boing thing again? How does it go? Yeah, that was good.
We can put that in there.
Yeah, we'll put it in. I'll
It's
look
terrifying. It is. Literally, when I hear it, that's what I think of the moment.
Wow.
And I Google it several times a day. So
No, I understand.
I pull it up. It's on YouTube, on my favorites. So that was the only experience you had with earthquakes, was that then?
We've had tiny ones in the Bay since, but nothing like that one. That one was crazy.
But you were born in LA.
I was born in LA, and I was in LA at the time.
Okay, so
I remember like when it was all done. It's so hard to tell when they're that young what memories are real memories or not. But I feel like I remember like glass all over the kitchen floor, like everything had kind of like fallen off and broken, and then us going out to the deck with one of our neighbors, and like all of us just kind of like looking at the sky in the quiet time after it. And it felt kind of nice, that part,
It is probably weird because, like, giant parts of LA have no power. It has to be kind of calming at some level.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's just nice that it was done.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, but yeah.
Yeah, we always had, it was everyone's stories for, like, several days. It was always like, where were you? Where were you? Like, my friend was on the football field, and they just saw it, like, literally, like.
That's crazy to see.
And then, like, the biggest lineman was, like, on the ground, like, grabbing the grass, like, going, oh, my God, oh, my God. And then all the water polo players were, like, in the pool, and it started sloshing. And one guy was like, I was just floating. And then the next thing, I'm, like, standing next to the pool. Like, it just.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Is the 89 one the one where there are all those videos of, like, the bridges going wacky?
No, I think that's really old. I think it was when they didn't know how to make bridges. No. 89 was when the Bay Bridge had the upper deck collapsed to the bottom.
That's scary.
Well, only one section. So when you're driving on the Bay Bridge, if you're going east, you're underneath the bridge on this side of it. Mm-hmm. So it was the part that they replaced now. There was a part of it, so it was upper deck and lower deck, and just like a 100 yard section, or no, probably like 50 or 40 yard section, just like collapsed like that.
Wow.
And people like, there's video, like people like just drove it down. I mean, they went to the lower deck.
Okay.
But they didn't. Still, it's not ideal.
That's not ideal.
It's not how you want to get to these, bay.
No.
I don't think that's the right way, but there's that. And then the Embarcadero. Do you know what that used to look like at all?
No. Come
So
on.
crazy. It's just like a time machine.
I'll tell you about the future and you can tell me about the past.
So you know where 101 and 280 kind of meet? Like if you're
Yes.
headed towards the Chase Center, and there's that one part where it's double deckered
Yes.
right now as you're going towards Dogpatch and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that quickly now stops being double deckered. But that used to be double deckered all the way down to the Embarcadero by the ferry building.
Wow.
And so the freeway used to go through the ferry building, or not through the ferry, like what you know is the Embarcadero
Yeah.
in front of the ferry building down to like Pier 39.
Huh.
The freeway used to go all the way down to
That's
there.
crazy.
Yeah. So like that whole part by the ballpark, that was all bypassed. That was a double like freeway lane going all the way down.
I wonder why they took it away. Because of that?
Let me tell you. It's
We'll never know.
a massive earthquake, and that whole thing. This is Jane here. That whole thing just went and collapsed, and so for miles of it, and we can put that here too. But the that whole Embarcadero collapsed on each other. That's where a bunch of people were trapped, and that's why then they cleared all that out, and then they were like, let's make this look nice and not like a wasteland.
Jeez, crazy.
You really don't. You should look at the photo.
I'm going to look them up.
There's a movie about it too.
When I edit this, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, it's and also at the time, so the World Series was going on at the time,
Uh-huh.
and so a lot of people were obviously at Candlestick or home or at a bar to watch it. So actually, the traffic was much less than it usually would. It would usually have been gridlocked, stopped.
Uh-huh.
So supposedly, it's with the Bay Bridge series, it supposedly saved a lot of lives because people would have been on that bridge and would have been collapsed.
Wow.
Altogether. But yeah, that's why the Embarcadero now is so nice, because they redid that whole thing basically from Dogpatch or where the ballpark starts, kind of all the way over to the thing. But yeah, that was a double-decker freeway for a long time.
In the future, we have jetpacks.
You think you want to be in a jetpack?
No, but I'm just telling you about the future since you told me about the past.
I'll be long dead by the time you're riding on a jetpack.
Yeah.
You'll be close to dead when you're riding on a jetpack.
Yeah, that's how I want to die, actually.
You're definitely going to need an Uber for that thing. You're not going to be...
They don't let me fly myself?
No. We're not going to let you do that.
Damn it. I hate the future.
You're not going to fit in it for one. It's going to be too big for you.
Yeah, it will be really big, but
Yeah.
it means I'll go really fast because it doesn't have a lot of weight to carry.
Yeah, you'll just like straight, just go like straight up and down. It'll just be like, what? There's nothing even in this.
Do you think I have to wear a helmet? Probably we all have to wear helmets.
Yeah, it's just.
It won't do much.
It'll just be so
Falling
you can
from that
recognize who has been decapitated.
Yeah,
by
give your
going
name
through wires.
inside.
You're just going to fly through electrical lines all the time. Just decapitate people. It's just so they can
Those
keep
heads
track.
rolling.
Like, yeah, that one's Natasha.
That one's Mike. Mike's just a guy.
I was like, oh, got a new character in the game. All right, so that's our podcast. We are Where's Dad? Every week we try and just talk shit out. I don't know. We just talk about dad's
Yeah.
related
Yeah.
stuff.
Dad adjacent.
Sometimes it's more pop culture. Sometimes it's just us talking.
Yeah.
So don't get mad if there's no dad
Yeah,
info.
calm the fuck down.
Calm down.
You guys, okay? We're doing our best we can.
Go talk to your own dad.
Yeah. Bye.
Where's Dad?